Well, today we have a treat for you. We are actually at Cimmaron Correctional Facility in Cushing, and we're taking a look at their vocational horticulture program. And our tour guide today is Teresa Morris. Teresa is a vocational instructor here, and thank you so much for letting us come and see this great horticulture program.
Well, we sure appreciate any of the information that we can get out to the public so that they know that they're being protected by us in here as staff at the Cimmaron Correctional Facility by trying to rehabilitate these inmates so that when they get out on the street they can be a productive citizen again. And that's part of my job, is to give them a skill that they can go out and market themselves as a horticulturist or a service technician or whatever, so that they can get a job and be successful when they get out.
Well, you've got a great program here, and I know a lot of people would like to go through this. Now, how long is the program that you have here?
Okay, my students last 9 months. They go through all the different seasons of the year. They experience everything. We try to do a little bit of everything. And right now we're in fall. We've already did our fall cleanup, and then we'll go into the greenhouse most of the winter long. And this winter we're going to put in a little model hydroponic system inside. And we've got a plant sale going on. We raised a little bit of money to fund any improvements to our program. We try to be self-supporting. And they experience the on-the-job training, and they also do book work half of the day. They do book work with using the Oklahoma State VOTEC curriculum for horticulture and greenhouse management.
Great. Now, these plots that we're looking right here, each person has their own plot that they're in charge of, is that correct?
They've got, on the average, about 300 square feet. In the spring, they can grow whatever they wish to grow on the plot. We go from onions to radishes to carrots to tomatoes to peppers to pumpkins, whatever it is that they want to grow, they can grow. The produce that comes off the garden is theirs to eat. And if there's enough for everybody, then they can take it back to their cells with them. But we try to eat everything out here. If there's an over and abundance of things that needs to be cooked, then I take it to the kitchen. I prepare it for them, and then we come back here, usually on Friday afternoons, and we all eat together the fruits of our labor.
That's pretty good.
If we still have leftover produce, then we donate it to the staff here at the facility to take home and eat. And then we also donate to the Cushing senior citizens, and then they give it to the senior citizens there at that program.
Okay. Well, that's really nice, and it's nice that each person gets to decide what they're going to grow in their plots. Now, when you decide what type of vegetable or something that you're going to grow, do they have to go through and do research on what they're supposed to do?
Yeah, they've got to know what variety they want. They need to know when it needs to be planted, how deep it needs to be planted, how far apart the individual plants are, whether or not it needs to be sowed in the greenhouse like tomatoes and then transplanted, or sown directly into the ground like green beans. Okay. So they make that decision, and based on what I give them as far as material, then they can make a good decision on what to grow. And they don't have to grow tomatoes if they don't like tomatoes. They just grow whatever they like to eat. And then they give it away if they have too much of it.
That's great. Now, this plot out here, you've actually got, you were telling me before, a little bit of no-till type interplanting operation.
I try to give them just about any technique that is on the outside. This is a no-till farming where we left last year's corn stalks in. So hopefully next year when we get to planting, then those corn will go ahead and be used as compost then into the garden. And we'll just use the rows in between. Right now we've got some turnips in the middle row that we need to thin out. But we'll use those middle rows this coming spring, and then next year, in 2002, I guess, then we'll go back and use the row that the corn is. So it's a technique that is used out in regular agriculture, and we try to bring it in to these guys so that they can learn that. Terracing techniques on the other garden. We, teaching them why to terrace, and as far as soil erosion and water conservation and all that kind of stuff. So I try to give them a well-rounded program so they can go out and actually have a little bit of knowledge of what's going on.
That's really great. And this greenhouse facility is just beautiful here. I would like one of these.
I really enjoyed American Plant Products. Did the design of it and came in and actually built it for us. It was a turnkey operation for me. I turned the key of the door, and I had a brand spanking new, fully automated greenhouse.
Wow.
It's wonderful.
Oh, this is great. Yeah. Hey, you've even got a mist bench here.
Yes,
This is great.
we do. My class of '98, my first class, designed it and built this propagation bench. We went for almost 6 months with no propagation bench. We had to hand mist everything. And we fund all of our little improvement projects by having plant sales to the staff. And we raised about $350, and this only took $250 of it. So we had a little bit of profit money in there, if you want to say, and then we used it to buy new pots or buy media or whatever else we were needing to help the program out.
Well, that's great. Well, maybe I could visit with a couple people and see what they're growing on their own benches here.
You bet. Yeah, each student has his own bench to take care of. He's required to know the identity of all the plants on the bench, how to propagate it, how to water it, how to fertilize it, when it needs to be flowering, when to pull the flowers off, just about anything that needs to be known about that plant, he's required to know. And that's part of an evaluation along with the garden project. At the end of each month, I evaluate them on their performance of attitude and attendance and care of their working space and equipment that they use and all that, so that I know that they know that they're getting a little bit of the instruction that I'm giving them.
Great.
Yeah, I've got several guys, I think, here today that would like to visit with you, so just kind of pick out one.
Okay. Well, this is Joe Maggard, and Joe, thanks for showing off your bench for us here. Now, you're basically in charge for all of the plants that are on this bench, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. I'm in charge of everything from that point to that point over there.
So now you have to learn about the care and how to propagate and all of the stuff on this bench. You basically have to know all about, right?
Oh yeah, that's mandatory. Pretty much you got to know what the plant is. Other than that, you just got to figure out what the plant needs. If you want to go ahead and get cuttings off of it, you got to know that, like for instance, this geranium plant, you got to make sure the buds are off the flowers, or you're going to stress your plant out. Other than that, everything's just pretty common sense that you know already.
Right.
Just a lot of watering and fertilizing.
Yeah.
Is the
But
main ingredient that your plant needs.
yeah, that's something you can't ignore too, because go too many days without water in the greenhouse and they'll really go.
Yeah, especially in the greenhouse with the humidity high, it just dries everything up.
Now this geranium is really pretty, and I understand you actually won a ribbon on this at the fair.
Yes, my teacher, Miss Morris, brought our plants up to Payne County Fair, and she told me that my geranium plant had a good chance to win. So I said, okay, sure, let's try it. So good enough, it brought back me a blue ribbon, and I'm proud of it.
That is a really pretty geranium. So I'd like to take some cuttings off of that.
Anytime you want.
So that'd be great. Thanks, Joe.
You're welcome.
Well, this is Bobby Rupel, and Bobby, thanks for joining us. So now, what do you have growing on your bench?
I've got orchids that were donated to us, and I'm not really sure what kind they are, and they haven't bloomed yet, but some of them are sending out new growth, and that's where they bloom from, is from the new growth.
Yeah, good. Now you've actually got them sitting on kind of little saucers of gravel here.
Yes, there's water in there to provide moisture for them and keep them moist enough that they will grow. The rocks is to keep them out of the water.
Right.
So they don't get too wet and root rot.
So yeah, that's really hard with orchids because they like it to be very moist, but they don't want to sit in the water.
No, if they sit in the water, the roots will rot and they'll die.
So that's a good idea. Now what else have you got here? You've got quite a selection here on your bench.
I've started propagating a bunch of geraniums, and that's what these little ones are here. And then I've got some heartleaf philodendron I'm starting to propagate for a hanging basket.
Oh, wow.
And then pothos ivy and coleus, several airplane plants and spider plants. And this is an aloe vera that's fixing to bloom.
Oh, it's getting ready to bloom. I don't see that very often.
They've got to be about 5 years old before they'll bloom.
Wow.
And then the conditions have to be just right or they won't.
Do they like quite a bit of light?
They like a lot of light and medium moisture, not a lot of moisture. They're a succulent and they're in the cactus family. So they like it a little on the dry side.
Okay.
The common name for them is medicine plant. They use them to put on burns and heal burns. And then I have this Norfolk Island pine that I'm taking care of.
That's beautiful.
I've brought in several tree frogs and put them in there.
And they like it in there?
They like it in there.
Oh, well, great. Well, you've got a nice system here, and you can tell that you guys learn a lot. You're very knowledgeable about these plants.
Miss Morrison is one of the best teachers I've known. She's pretty good.
Great. Well, it's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Well, our last stop is here with Daryl Gibson. Daryl, it's nice to meet you.
You too.
So, now, you have some really big plants here on your bench.
Well, I've been in this class for almost 10 months. I'm getting ready to graduate tomorrow.
Oh, great.
And this here's my class project. It's a banana tree. It's not supposed to produce for 3 years. And this in here is a shoot off of the main trunk that I took a cutting off of the root and got it to come back. And then I've got these bougainvilleas.
Those are really neat.
The variegated and
Just the regular?
The regular ones.
And this is an absolutely gorgeous plant here.
Yes, this is the Reserve Grand Champion at the Payne County Fair. And it's not quite as pretty as it was when we sent it, but it's still real nice.
And I'm actually kind of in one of your plants here. This is a gorgeous ivy here.
This Swedish ivy is just now blooming, and it's really ain't got no smell to it, but I haven't seen very many of them bloom.
No, usually they don't.
But we have 3 or 4 in the greenhouse here that have bloomed.
That's great. Means they're happy.
I think so.
So, well, you've done a really good job here. And are you going to be able to take these with you then after you graduate?
I'm taking this one. I'm going to send it home to my mom and dad whenever I graduate.
That'll be great.
And hopefully they won't kill it.
Yeah, you'll have to do some training for them.
Yeah.
Well, Teresa, we really appreciate this tour. You are doing a lot of great work here. I can tell that the guys really enjoy this program.
Yeah, we have a good time. They get to come out and relax a little bit, get away from prison life. They get to come out and use this as a refuge, as a sanctuary, and then they get to use their hands and they actually get to accomplish something. And some of them have never accomplished anything in their lives. And I bring them in just about everything I can from the outside so that they can get a little experience while they're here, and maybe they can grow golden rain trees on the outside.
Yeah,
you know, we propagate just about anything: peach trees, apple trees, golden rain trees, mimosa trees, tomatoes, whatever we can get our hands on. And hopefully when they get out, they can become a productive citizen, like I said before, and actually be with their families and be happy.
Great. Well, thanks a lot.
Well, thank you guys for coming.
We hope you've enjoyed this classic from the Oklahoma Gardening Vault. Remember, even though these tips and techniques are timeless, there's always something new to learn in the world of gardening. By subscribing to both Oklahoma Gardening and OK Gardening Classics, you'll have access to a wealth of gardening knowledge, both classic and contemporary.